This man right here is Ed Woodward. He's the chief executive at Manchester United, and he's come in for a bit of stick. And he's hitting back, Craig Burley, saying the stick isn't deserved. But let's cut to the chase here. Since he came in 2013, it's coincided with Manchester United's form not being very good. Is the stick and the criticism justified?
Absolutely, and he's picked a weekend where they have the toughest game of the season by far, Liverpool. A game that could potentially humiliate them even more on the football field, where they've been pretty high up in that regard so far. So his timing, amongst other things, is strange. He has overseen the decisions on managers that have all not worked so far, and he's overseen this, I think, ridiculous decision to jump in so early after the PSG game last year and give Solskjaer the job before it went south. And I understand he maybe not necessarily is going out and picking players, but he is having a big impact on the decision of players coming to the football club.
When you look at what he's done and you see him now coming out and say, well, it's not all my fault, do you think the world that we live in now, it's a blame culture, it's never anyone else's fault? If there was a bit of mea culpa about this and he just kind of said, look, I know I've got a few things wrong, however, just trying to explain it, would it be easier for fans to maybe understand his comments? Whereas this, it's like a politician's perspective of, well, it wasn't me, Gov.
Well, he's been quite steadfast in the comments that he's made recently, saying, and I don't know if United fans buy into it, by saying, look, Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, you know, the Rashfords of this world, this is what we're going to be working on youth, and it's a project. He's also said, as you can see, it's insulting to the football people at the club to say that him or other management and executives are getting involved in football decisions, but they are getting involved in football decisions. Because to give you an example, and this is only one example, when Jose Mourinho said, I want Ivan Perisic at the football club 2 to 3 years ago, or whenever it was, because he will give us the better balance on that side and he is very important, he kiboshed it. So just because you're not directly saying to Solskjaer and Moyes and Van Gaal, hey, go and sign this player, just because you're not doing that because you don't really have a clue, you're still affecting the transfers because you're saying, no, he's too old, or he's 10 million too much, or we're not taking him. So indirectly, you're having a say in the football activity. Does that not make sense? No?
I think so.
And then managers, and then, you know, Mourinho knew he was flogging a dead horse with this guy because, Mourinho got lots of things wrong, but what we do know, he's a successful manager. He knew there was so many things needed fixed, but he was getting kiboshed and blocked by him or others, the Glazers, and so that all had a direct effect in football strategy.
People have made their mind up. Man United fans have made their mind up about him, and it's unlikely to change now. Is there any way back for him to be a success as the main man at Manchester United?
Well, it's unlikely to change under Glazer ownership because he's doing what the Glazers want,
okay, so
per se.
So should we go above his head?
It's interesting this week that some senior journalists in the UK have started to put out there that sponsors and other commercial partners are becoming frustrated with, because previously they were saying, oh, Man United, it's not really going to affect us too much what happens on the field because we're such a big global business. But things are starting to leak out that some commercial partners are becoming frustrated with the poor performance of the team because it's having an adverse effect. So, if that becomes very strong and purposeful, maybe the Glazers will make a decision on him. Until that happens, I think the Glazers will be happy for him to push up the share price and keep everybody happy. In terms of on the football side of things, I don't see it getting better anytime soon. They're poor on the park and they're poor off it.
Playing devil's advocate in the defence of Ed Woodward here, is the problem not higher up the tree then? Should we not be apportioning a lot more of the blame towards the Glazers, or is he the one that is in charge of the checkbook?
I think it comes from it comes all the way down from the ownership. There's not a doubt about that. I mean, you know, you can't absolve John Henry. If John Henry at Liverpool tells the chief operating officer and chief financial officer at Liverpool, you can't have that player, there's not a lot he can do about it. So, of course, it comes down from the ownership. John Henry has put his money, they've spent big, they've had a strategy with management and player recruitment, and it's clearly worked for Liverpool as it has worked for Man City, although you'll say, well, they've spent billions. They have. I get that.
They've spent it well, though.
They've generally spent it well. They've spent it poorly, and they keep trying to stick the elastoplast over the cut to try and to stem the flow of the blood, and so far it has just not worked, and it could get worse this weekend.
Okay, what's the end game then for Manchester United? How do they get back? Can they get back to where the majority of their fans remember them being?
I see the end game for Man United, and I don't know how far this is down the line of an ownership change and a restructuring of the whole football club. I could see the Glazers bailing at some point. I just don't know when that is.
But for now, timing of the comments, I think, according to Craig Burley, one of the bizarre parts of this story from Ed Woodward ahead of the game against Liverpool at the weekend.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.